Loving Sairams to all. Hope that with Swami's love and grace, you and your loved ones are all doing well and following all the precautions and recommendations by the state as well as your county officials. This too shall pass, as Swami has said that and reassured us multiple times. Swami has said, face boldly the difficulties in life. Develop self-confidence, which will lead you to bliss. Never harbor worries and anxieties. Gain sufficient strength of the body and mind to face boldly the difficulties, losses, and sorrows that may confront you in this life. This will be facilitated if you practice the 4 F's taught in our educational system. That is, follow the master, your conscience, face the devil, fight till the end, and finish the game. What is the inner meaning of the first 3 letters of the alphabets A, B, C in English language? They mean always be careful. Swami has also said that difficulties are created to increase the yearning and to sift the sincere devotee from the rest. So, fellow brothers and sisters, let us hold on to Swami's lotus feet a little bit more tighter and pray to him that he give us the strength to face this current adversity so that it'll pass as well. Today, with great sadness, I want to let all of you know that we lost a very dear Sai sister of ours, Sister Hina Trivedi from Tampa Sai Center, who served Swami in the capacity of Vice President, merged with Swami on Thursday. May Swami bring love and peace and shower all his grace on her as well as her family and the devotees of Tampa Sai Center. Jai Sai Ram. It gives me great pleasure today to invite Brother Venkatesh Prasad, all the way from Bangalore, India. He's a Sai alumnus, and it will be talking to us on the topic Sai, our Hridaya Nivasi, the indweller. Brother, we are extremely grateful to Swami for sending you to speak in our midst, and can't wait to hear all the stories and the anecdotes and the experiences you have. Facilitating today's session and welcoming Brother Venkatesh Prasad is our very own Region 3 President, Dr. Balu Karanam. Sairam Balu, take it away.
Sairam Venkatesh, very nice to see you. It's a pleasure to see you and talk to you. And on behalf of Sai family members of Region 3 in USA, as well as Sai family members from other regions and other countries who are watching this program, thank you again for accepting our invitation and being with us for this satsang. Yeah, we started this when the COVID took over our lives, and basically blocking us going to the centers, and so we were everybody at home. So we thought we'll bring Swami to their homes. Actually, this is happening from March onwards. A wonderful team working with putting a lot of effort to bring speakers like you and making the satsang going on. We would like to continue this as long until the situation becomes normal and everybody feels safe to come back the way we used to be coming back to the centers. Having said that, every talk starts with their journey, the family journey to Swami, our beloved Swami, and how did they come to know about Swami, and how did they heard about him, and how did they saw Swami, when did they see Swami, which is the year, like that. So start your family journey. Would love to hear your family journey to Swami.
Sure. Sairam, it's a great blessing to be here today. Thank you very much for this opportunity. Thanks to this invite, I could just go back over the entire last 40, 50 years of my life, and I could recollect and relive all these memories over the last 1 or 2 days, which it'll be great to share with everybody. See, our family, Swami came into a family mainly because of my grandfather. My grandfather has been a Shirdi Sai devotee right from his childhood and from his teenage, and he has been a spiritual seeker throughout his life. And he first heard about Swami somewhere in 1950s. His work brought him to all this Rayalaseema region of Prodhattur, Gutti, Kadapa, Adoni. He used to come to these places for his work. So he heard about Swami during all those visits. But as Swami would have it, Swami finally came into our life only by end 60s and the early 70s. So this is how Swami came into our life. When my grandfather brought Swami into our family, I mean, in terms of introducing Swami to our family, because we always been a religious family and following Shirdi Sai, and also worshipping Guruvayurappan in Kerala, very famous deity, Krishna deity in Kerala. So when Swami came into our lives, two people in our family took it up very earnestly. One was my mother, and another was my younger uncle. Now, why I'm saying this is, this was very important, but these two people took it up. And my mother especially, right from the word go, started having a very heart-to-heart, very intense relationship with Swami. And she really started relating to Swami. And she used to compose, I won't say bhajans. She was not musically trained, nor was she a bhajan singer. She used to just write songs on Swami. And she was very fluent in Tamil, apart from Hindi. So she used to write songs in Hindi and Tamil, and she used to sing those songs, and we used to try to follow her. And that was the first way in which we started relating to Swami. And because of her intensity and everything, we started having some instances in our life Like she used to read, because we were Shirdi Sai devotees earlier. She used to read Shirdi Sai Satcharita, and once she was reading the Shirdi Sai Satcharita, Fakir appeared. This happened in Dehradun, which is in Uttarakhand, in the foothills of Himalayas. So my parents used to stay there at the time. So while she was reading Satcharita, a fakir appeared. This was a house which had a lawn in front. And when the fakir appeared, and the fakir asked for a dakshina from my mother, and my mother immediately ran in again and brought out what came to her hand. It was a 2 rupee note. This happened somewhere in the 70s, and she gave it as a dakshina to the fakir, and he resembled exactly like Shirdi Sai Baba. And he went and sat in the corner of the lawn under the tree, and that's where my mother went and gave the 2 rupee note to him. And after accepting it, he just disappeared. So this scene was not seen only by my mother, but also by the house owner who was standing and watching it from the first floor. She was an ardent Shiva devotee, and she was a native of that region of Himalayas, Garhwal region. So she was surprised that such a scene happened, but she warned my mother to be careful with such people who come. And she said, this region is filled with such saints and Mahatmas, but we should be careful as a young lady to go and give these kind of dakshinas. But my mother immediately told her, this is Shirdi Sai who has come in this farm, and showed the Shirdi Sai Satcharita to that lady. So this was one first instance as we were entering the Swami's fold. We had a glimpse of how Swami responds. And then we used to have a photo of Swami in the house. And as my mother was praying, Amrit used to come out of these photos. When the Amrit used to come out, my younger brother, who is 5 years younger to me, he was a very small kid then. He used to literally scoop it with his hand, and he used to start tasting them. And as he used to continue tasting them, Amrit used to continue to come. So this was again another instance where Swami showed his omnipresence to our family. Then, as time moved on, we used to attend bhajan, and mainly me and my mother. And this happened in Salem, a small town in Tamil Nadu. We used to go to a auntie's house who was a Sai devotee for a bhajan. And this bhajan used to be consisting of only, bhajan session will be consisting only of 4 of us. That auntie, the auntie's relative, brother-in-law, myself and my mother. Maximum maybe 1 or 2 more people will come. And when we say bhajan, it's not in a typical sense we see bhajans being conducted now. These were all in the 70s. So this was a typical house with the entire wall filled with various photos of Swami and all of the deities of God. And this auntie used to just sit with a veena, and she used to sing some songs, and we used to try and follow her. And this used to go on for 45 minutes, 1 hour. Now, the uniqueness of this place was that uncle, that auntie's relative, who was a brother-in-law, used to get flowers to be put on the photos. And every bhajan session, before we used to start, that auntie used to pray, and she used to ask us to join her in the prayer in saying, Swami, please hold on to at least 1 garland. Because what used to happen was, in the 45 minutes, all the photos, all the garlands, during the bhajan, either it will swing and fall, or it will fall one by one. And virtually at the end, there will be nothing left on any of Swami's photo. And this was another omnipresence that Swami used to show. And it had a very deep impact on me as a kid when I was growing up and seeing all this kind of activities and seeing Swami. Now, the other person who, as I told my younger uncle, was he actively participated as a Sevadal in 1970s. Actually, there were not many Sevadal volunteers, and this movement, Satya Sai organization movement, was just starting. And he volunteered to go and serve in Puttaparthi during a Dasara celebrations. I don't remember the year now, must be 75 or 76. And he came to Puttaparthi, and he served the entire 10 days as a Sevadal during the Dasara celebrations. And as Swami had decided to grace him, Swami in all those 10 days gave him different experiences. He had wonderful experiences on all those 10 days. And he came back and narrated in vivid detail as to how his Puttaparthi and how he experienced Swami in presence and how everything happened. And few more days passed by, I mean, year, and then two major turning points happened in our life. My grandfather developed kidney stones, and he had to be operated on. That was what the doctors diagnosed at the time. But he prayed to Swami, and Swami came in a dream for him and cured him overnight in the dream. And he just woke up with perfectly fine with no trace of kidney stones. That was the first turning event in our family. And the second was, uh, again, my grandfather was traveling in a car on official work, and he miraculously escaped the head-on collision because the car was traveling in the night during a rainy season. And what was supposed to be a head-on collision with a truck coming on the opposite lane, um, unknown to all the occupants of the car, including my grandfather and the driver, they escaped without a single person getting hurt, nor being the vehicle being damaged. Somehow it was a miracle, and they came out alive. My grandfather came home and he took a chalk and he drew on the floor and showed to us as to how he was saved. And with that, the family decided to come together and have Swami's darshan now, all of us. So I still remember this was the first time I had Swami's darshan. It was on August 15th, 1978. It was Independence Day of India, and we all came to Brindavan, Whitefield, in 1978. And for me, it was the first darshan, while other members of the family had Swami's darshan. But we were all having it together. We had a beautiful darshan of Swami in the morning in 1978. And one more event which was to set the foundation for my future happened on the day. Between the morning darshan and the evening darshan, my father just walked me down to the hostel, Brindavan boys hostel, which was just then constructed. It was there when we went at the time. There was a student who was studying at that point of time, and my father just engaged him in a conversation and started inquiring about the college and everything. And that senior brother, I don't know who he was and what's his name, very lovingly spent almost 10 to 15 minutes explaining to my father about the entire Satyasai education system, Satyasai Arts and Science and Commerce College, as it was called in those days, and about the hostel and everything. My father was very impressed, and standing at the steps of those hostel, told me that I would like you to come and study here when you join your college. When he told that, I was studying only in my fifth standard, and these were the words he uttered. And fast forward, I came to the institute, which was in 1987, full 9 years later, as a Sai student.
Oh, that's wonderful. Wonderful to hear how the his presence was around you, and you could see that garlands moving, and saving your grandfather. Like so, Swami was with you, but now he's and also your father set a road for you to get to the physical presence of Swami from in 1987. I still remember we were both batchmates.
Correct.
1987, Swami came for our batch. The freshers day. If you remember, he came to the auditorium, and he spent. You saw the entire program. And
Yeah.
also, another wonderful thing happened in that year is in the history of Satsa Institute of Higher Learning, Swami agreeing for entire batch to stay back in Parthi. You remember that,
Right.
isn't it?
Yes.
Half of us is supposed to go to Brundavan, but in the interview, one of our brother cried, and because of which Swami just took the decision. I said that all will stay here, even though it was very difficult because the entire that number of students accommodating for especially courses like English and awareness used to be massive number. So but
Right.
Swami allowed us to stay together for one semester, after which you went to the same Brundavan where your dad took you to
Yeah.
that hostel. Yeah, actually that brings I know 5 years of close proximity, Swami. It is difficult to say in a few minutes, but I would love to hear from you, like your interactions and the learnings, and some kind of Swami used to correct us. These kind of wonderful experiences we would like to hear from you.
Sure. Actually, as you rightly said, it was a wonderful moment coming into the Satyavai institution in 1987. When we moved to Brindavan, so after the first semester when we all spent together, so the very fact, the way this happened was a great learning lesson for me. See, one more instance before I become a student here, I should also narrate one small thing. I was really blessed to live in a city called Coimbatore. I grew up in a city called Coimbatore. Now, this place was in close proximity to Uti and also to Kodaikanal on either side. And Swami used to come to Uti very frequently because of the school and the institution, everything. And we used to just drive up and go have Swami's darshan. And those days in 1970s, hardly 20, 25 people will be seated for darshan. So we used to enjoy Swami like that. And I had had a glimpse of Swami from that point. And again, in Kodaikanal, going in, which was only a private visit, at least in Uti, there used to be a darshan timing. Kodaikanal Swami used to come as a private visit to Mr. Srinivasan's house. And it used to be only 5 or 6 of us. It is impossible for anybody to believe today. In 1979, 80, 81, 6 of us, there will be 3, 4 ladies, 3, 4 gents. And we used to just sit outside on the road of outside Mr. Srinivasan's residence. And Swami, whenever he used to walk in and out between the various places within the compound, he used to just stop by. And some of the unforgettable memory of Swami was Swami just coming and leaning on the gate and putting his head and looking at us. And we used to sing bhajan, 5 or 6 of us. So that was the physical proximity which I had enjoyed as a small kid in Uti and Kodak. Now, why I'm saying this is, so when I came to Puttaparthi, and as you said, our fresher year and everything, and how this entire thing happened itself was a great lesson for me. So when the batch was split between Vrindavan and Parthi, I was selected as the batch which was supposed to go to Vrindavan. Everything was fine till the day we were supposed to board the bus to go to Vrindavan. But suddenly, a couple of, you might remember them, our classmates, decided that they didn't want to leave Swami and go to Vrindavan. And during the morning darshan time, they just went and caught hold of Swami, which was a new lesson for me. I mean, I had not seen this facet of relationship with Swami. And these 2 boys went and caught hold of Swami and literally cried out their heart out, saying that they didn't want to leave Swami and go to Vrindavan. They wanted to be in Parthi. And taking a cue from them, we also went and surrounded Swami. And Swami took a decision on the spot, even though it was an administrative decision taken that a group of boys goes to Vrindavan campus and other group stays in Parthi. Swami took a decision, and as you rightly said, we spent the 6 months. But again, because of various administrative reasons, and even in the second round, I happened to be in the Vrindavan group. I went and landed there. Now, Vrindavan, I just need to say one thing. It is really, I have no words to describe the place. While it is a great boon to be a Sai student, to be in Swami's proximity, but to be a student in Vrindavan, I don't know. Actually, as a person, since I had an opportunity to study in Parthi, I did my post-graduation in Parthi, I also had an opportunity to go with Swami to Kodaikanal and spend the summer trip with Swami in Kodaikanal. But very humbly, nothing comes close to the experience of being a student in Vrindavan. It is a magical place, and it was literally like how Krishna frolicked with Gopikas and Gopas in Dwapara Yuga. Swami spent time with her students there in Vrindavan. I mean, I have no other words to describe because my vocabulary fails me here to explain how we spent those 3 years in Vrindavan. Now, staying in Vrindavan, there was ample opportunity to discuss, have occasions to interact with Swami, to see him at very close quarters. And there were many ways in which Swami communicated and taught. Some of it were very straight, some of it were through teachers and other the system which Swami had created, the educational system, the hostel, the teachers, the guests who came there, the VIP devotees who came there. So we learned in so many ways. I will just humbly try to share a few things which comes uppermost in my mind and which has really shaped my life from then on. One of the first things which I could learn directly from Swami was I happened to be part of the stores boys, meaning the boys who used to take care of the cooperative stores. And the Brindavan in those days was not like what it was in 80s. As you know, there was only a Sairam shed. There was no Sairamish hall. All these new buildings, everything, nothing was there. It was only a hostel and Tri Brindavan, a Sairam shed. And there was an old building where a cooperative stores was being run by students for the sake of devotees and also for students. Now, Swami, in his infinite mercy, apart from showering love and affection on the students, he also took time to find time to shower specific grace on each group of boys who were doing different kind of services like this. So stores boys had a chance of having another additional personal interaction with Swami because Swami used to every visit or at least once in 6 months make it a point to visit the stores and sit only with the stores boys, which will be 5 or 6 of us, and share some wonderful moments, the half an hour, 45 minutes with 5 or 6 of us. So on one such visit, Swami came in. We used to have a counter with all the chocolates lined up, mainly for the overseas devotees who used to like to buy chocolates. So we used to have a counter, and Swami came, put his hand on the stand, looked at all the chocolates there, and said, "There are so many chocolates here, but I didn't get for my students." Saying that, Swami just turned around and started giving each one of us Cadbury's Gems kind of a chocolate. I mean, to put it in a parlance which Americans will understand, like M&M, like what you have M&M, colorful. So he started giving for each one of us. 6 of us or 7 of us were there. Swami gave to each one of us one chocolate, and we ate. And then Swami addressed me directly. Swami said, "Why do you keep running behind friends? Why do you keep saying friends, friends, friends? All your friends keep saying hello, 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 but their heart is hollow. Swami is the only friend. The only friend you need to have in your life is Swami." Swami directly addressed me like this and said, "Take Padamaskar," which was a very, very important lesson for me as a fresher, a newcomer in Vrindavan. And I learned a valuable lesson which I held on throughout my life. It's not that I was an introvert or I disconnected myself from others. While I maintained contact with everybody, but I was very clear all along in my life thereafter that the only true companion is the Lord, nobody else. And on another occasion, there was a student, my junior, 1 year junior to me. Swami, one day evening, created a ring for him. I'm just avoiding mentioning anybody's name because I may not have taken their permission to tell their name, but I'm just sharing the experience so that it is an experience to me. So Swami created a ring for him on an evening session inside Raibundavan. So we all retired back to hostel. And the next day morning, when Swami came out for darshan, Swami called the boy. And Swami asked him, "Remove the ring." So that boy very hesitatingly, he removed. Swami held the ring in his hand and showed, "See this boy, Swami created." When Swami creates something, there is a meaning behind why Swami creates. It's a link between Swami and that soul. "See this boy, he has tied a thread onto the ring to make it properly to fit." When Swami gives something, there's a meaning to it. But he has tied a thread. Is it right? And then Swami addressed him. The problem is not that. Swami said, the problem is he did not like this ring which I created. So by now, these students who are seated there, now 10 out of 10, when Swami creates a ring, anybody will grab it because it's a desire of every student to have some creation in their hand. But Swami said, when Swami was talking like this, we were all surprised. Swami said, he didn't like the ring. You know why he didn't like the ring? Which was the next surprising thing. Because it has my photo there. Swami said, he didn't want my photo there. Chepura, Swami asked him. That boy was flabbergasted. He didn't answer. Swami said, he didn't want my photo, but he wanted Krishna's photo. Now, this boy was an ardent Krishna devotee, and he came from a Vaishnavite background and everything. Saying that, Swami blew it thrice, and it had the Swami's face changed as Krishna's face. And Swami said, "This is how Krishna looked, not the way you imagine, but this is the actual look of Krishna." Saying that, Swami put it in his finger again. Now, by itself, it may look like a very simple experience, especially when we see Swami doing so many creations. But for me, it had a very deep meaning. Now, when Swami says, you worship whichever God you want, I answer to all prayers. In fact, Swami has said in many discourses, many places, Swami said, you worship, you can call me by any name. I answer to all names. Sarva Devatma Swarupa. And Swami showed in a physical way where when the person desired that, he gave it. So I took that to heart. And many times later on in future, when there used to be instances inside devotee's house where they will say, X member or Y member in the family does not worship Swami, they are into different fold. I used to always have this experience to share with them. When the Lord himself says that you can worship whichever way you want, whichever God you want, but only underlying fact is you need to be true to the God or the Guru whom you worship. So this was another great lesson which I learned from Swami at the time. Now there was another unique thing which was about my joining Vrindavan was my mother also joined the same year. This was a very, very rare occasion because between the year 1978 and 87, my father, due to illness, passed away. He reached Swami's lotus feet in the year 1984. My mother, who had discontinued her studies when she married my father, somewhere in the late 60s, restarted her academic career, and she joined the university after a gap of almost 20 years. And Swami lovingly gave her, and she belonged to the first batch of B.Ed students. So, and as it would have it, that B.Ed students, even though it was fully women, that campus was also based in Vrindavan in the adjacent hostel. Due to some technical reason, that course had to be conducted in Bangalore before it had to be shifted to Anantapur after 2-3 years. But my mother's batch, I had to do it in Bangalore. So it was a very rare occasion of a mother and son studying in the university at the same time under Swami's love and guidance. Now, while Swami was in Vrindavan, Swami visited that hostel where the B.Ed group was studying, and my mother had an opportunity of pouring her heart out to Swami about all things which had happened in our life and where we were at that point of time and everything. And Swami, at that point of time, lovingly, the Swami whom we knew as Antaryami, the Swami whom we knew all along the past decade, became a member and head of a family by assuring my mother that he will take charge of everything from that day onwards. And true to his word, and my mother, why I emphasize this, she had a very unique, and she continues to have a unique relationship with Swami. It was a straight heart-to-heart relationship with Swami for her, and she will cry, cajole, argue, fight it out, but she will get what she wants to get out of Swami. So she had that relationship. So when this Swami promised that he will become the head of the family, she immediately prayed that Swami should perform the 60th marriage of my grandfather, Sashyabda Purti as we call it, by his divine hands. Swami immediately agreed. And not only did he agree, he said, I will perform the the thread ceremony for my younger brother. Also, along with the same function, Swami said, go ahead and call your parents and your younger son. Because while we both were studying, at Swami's Lotus Field. My younger brother was still pursuing his school in Coimbatore with my grandparents. So Swami took so much interest. He also decided whom all to be invited, guided my mother as to whom she should invite so that it doesn't become a unmanageable group, and limited to a X number of people, and arranged everything and fixed a date. And we had this function in Swami's immediate presence inside Tribe Vrindavan entry room. This happened on March 24th, 1988. Swami did this. So Swami performed my grandfather's Shashtiyabda Purti. He created the sacred thread and put it on my brother. And he did Gayatri Upadesh straight to my brother. And not stopping there, he personally called me separately and my brother separately and did a separate mantra Upadesh. By that, what I mean is, Swami gave each one of us a Ishta mantra, which we need to chant in our life for our redemption. Swami said that, in fact, in my case, Swami told me, remember this, keep it to yourself and chant it. Morning and evening, always you chant this mantra, Swami told me. So Swami blessed us. And then we moved out. My mother didn't stop with this. She immediately, within a few days, so she prayed to Swami, because Swami in those days used to go to Kodaikanal every year, taking few students with him. So Swami, my mother, with all earnestness, prayed to Swami, Swami, please come to our house for lunch. Swami said, how? She said, Swami, anyway, you pass through Coimbatore when you're going either way. We have seen you doing this so many years. Please bless us with your presence in our house by taking lunch in our house. So Swami didn't say anything. Chustanu, Swami said, and left it at that. So when my mother told me this, I was aghast. I said, how can you even invite Swami like that? Okay, it's Swami said maybe he means next few Janmas or something else. I told her, I don't see how this will happen, because I didn't believe that Swami will come to our house, because we were, to put it, see, we are a very simple, middle class, ordinary people. I mean, we didn't have such comfort or such facility to invite Swami in a big house with all. I mean, these are all my imagination. These are all not Swami's requirement, my imagination. So I thought, how will Swami come to a family like ours, a simple house like ours? But anyway, Swami started and went to Kodaikanal, and we visited Kodaikanal. My mother kept repeating to Swami. We had 2-3 visits from Coimbatore. As I told you, it's only 4 hours from Coimbatore to go to Kodaikanal. During the stay Swami had, my mother 3-4 times mentioned to Swami, Swami, please do come. Swami said, Chustan. And Swami never didn't give a clear idea that he will come. And Swami's programs are such that you don't know when Swami leaves Kodai, which day he leaves, because you know how Swami is. So because of this, my mother's, again, positive thinking, we used to be mentally prepared of Swami coming any day from as soon as the first 20-25 days are over, because Swami normally used to stay in Kodaikanal for a period anywhere between 25 to 30 days or 32 days. So we were waiting every day in a preparedness when we'll get a call saying that Swami has started from Kodai. So we have to be prepared if Swami just comes like that. So one final day, we decided today not only we are going to be prepared, let us start preparing the food. Let us see whatever happens. And as we would have imagined, Swami literally started from Kodai that day. Swami came down to Coimbatore, and there was a medical camp which was being arranged in Coimbatore. Swami came with the entire entourage, Swami in his car, and only these 3 people's name I will mention. All of them have achieved Swami's Lotus Feet. Swami came in a car to Coimbatore with Radhakrishna sir, driving the car, Colonel Jogarao and Gopal Rao. These were the three people in Swami's car, and there are a few students in another car, and then a bus load of students. So Swami came to this camp where we used to do free medical camp, and my grandfather was the convener of the Satyasai Seva Samiti in Coimbatore. So when he was taking around Swami and showing all the devotees, the patients for whom this free operation, cataract operation had been done, how they are recovering. Swami blessed all of them, everything. And at the last minute, as he was walking with my grandfather, he just said, see, will my car, Swami said, told my grandfather, echoing my word, it's a big car. Will it enter that road of yours where your house is? So my grandfather very humbly in whisper told Swami, if you will, anything can happen. Anyway, Swami said, good enough. What we'll do is, I'll send these boys straight to Uti because so many people coming there will be a hindrance for you. I will come in my car because the house is small and the road is also small. So I'll come in my car. You go and get into the pilot car and show us the way. So that was the only indication Swami gave that he's coming to our house at the nth moment. So my grandfather didn't even have time to alert us. So he just told a Sevadal there, please inform my family that Swami is coming home. So that man took a two-wheeler and must have created a world record driving to reach our home before Swami and reach us home to inform us that Swami is coming. So by then, thanks to my mother's positive thinking, we had kept everything ready. Swami just came in and it was unbelievable. It was as if it was his house and he entered. We didn't know how to receive Swami, first of all. And it was just, apart from the food which we had cooked, we didn't know any formalities, what is to be observed. But Swami so lovingly just walked in, straight went to the puja room, asked my grandmother, where is the matchbox? So my grandmother gave the matchbox to him. Swami lit the diya. I mean, we didn't even know that we should have. Swami lit the diya, the lamp in the house. And then Swami went in, saw the arrangement of the food, and told my mother, quick, quick, quick. Lot of devotees will gather outside your house, make it fast. And then Swami went in, he saw. We had mentally prepared and we had kept a table and chair for Swami. And we had also kept our dining table cleaned and ready for at least 3-4 plates if somebody else Swami calls. Swami saw that. He was satisfied. He just told me, see, outside the car, Radhakrishna is there. You ask Radhakrishna, Gopal Rao and Jogara, only these 3 people to come. The behind car students are there. Let them be there. You just call these 3 people inside. So I went and called. So these 3 people came in. So Swami told them to settle down in the thing. And you know how Swami first saw that they were all served and they are taken care of. And then Swami sat. And then to just show how much Swami became part of the family was, we had a typical of any Indian household. We had a wash basin where if you open the tap on top, it was non-functional tap. So you need to open a tap below to have the water come from top. So Swami went, used the washroom and he came out. He wanted to wash his hands. So he tried opening. Water was not coming. So my younger brother, he was standing next. He asked him, hey, why is the water not coming? He told back to Swami, Swami, you need to bend down and open the tap because the top tap doesn't work. Swami hit him on his head lovingly. Dunapota, open it down. So he bent down and opened the tap and Swami washed his hands. And typically, when you do everything, you will make one mistake. We had cleaned everything. I was repeating to all my family members because as an experience as a student, see, we do everything, be careful. Where we miss, that's what Swami will focus on. It will come to Swami's life. So everybody was on alert, everybody did. But unfortunately, what happened, as Swami entered, last minute, my aunt decided to mop a place or clean a place somewhere. After cleaning, she went and hung that cloth in a hurry because Swami had already entered the house. She just hung it on a clothes line, where you dry your clothes, which was on the way for going to the washroom. So Swami, when he came back, he said, what is this? Then I said, Swami, extremely sorry. My aunt has made a mistake. I had to take it out and seek Swami's pardon. And Swami lovingly went in. And again, see the love of Swami. While Swami was engaging everybody, seeing that the 3 guests who come are comfortable, and Swami made everybody happy by having lunch in the house and everything. Swami found a time and pulled me aside and told me, take care of Radhakrishna. Just see what he needs. So I immediately ran behind Radhakrishna sir. I realized what is a bond which Swami shares with this great soul. Then I started interacting with him, and I was with him till everything over. And Swami blessed us all profusely, and he when after having lunch, Swami went. So it was a great moment in our life, and this happened on 8th May 1988, and it happened to be the marriage anniversary of my mother. Even though my father was no more, Swami, after having food and everything, told her, see, today on this day, Swami has come to your house, eaten the food cooked by you, and made you happy. From henceforth, this anniversary should not remind you of your past, but rather this anniversary should be the day Swami came to your home for having food. These were the words of Swami, and Swami left our home. Within 2 3 days after that, me, my mother, and my brother, we made the pilgrimage now to Ooty to express our gratitude to Swami. But Swami came out for darshan. He saw me and my brother, and he went in. And Ooty in those days, it was a Victorian mansion. It was a colonial building in which Swami used to stay. It had a wonderful French window to the side of the building, where Swami can have a sweeping view of the entire valley and also few devotees who might be sitting there out. So Swami, after finishing the morning rounds and everything, he went and was standing near the French window. And my mother, who happened to be there on that side, the ladies' side, she saw the Swami standing there. At first, she thought it was a statue of Swami. And she was just admiring, looking at Swami. What a beautiful statue of Swami they kept here. Not realizing it was Swami who was standing and looking at her. And then Swami gestured to her, come. So for a minute, she didn't realize. Then Swami, from the inside the glass, it's a glass French window. Swami just said, come in. So my mother went in, and then Swami spent almost 1 hour with her in again resolving a lot of things in life and giving her a guidance and what should be done and everything. And also appointed her as a teacher in Ooty school and told her, you stay here and teach children here and everything. I'll take care of your children, everything. Swami said. So meanwhile, we both, having finished darshan and Swami is gone in, and we were searching for our mother. She was nowhere to be seen. So we didn't know what's happening. So we were waiting for 1 hour. At the end of 1 hour, Swami just came out, and there used to be a small Kalyan Madam, that place, if you take few steps down, where the one marriage was taking place that day, and Swami was going to perform that marriage. Swami just went, and by then all the devotees had left, and only me and my brother were standing there. And my mother came behind Swami, and we were stunned. So I was very upset with my mother. I said, how could you go and have an interview with Swami, leaving us both out? You should have taken us both in. Why did you forget us? So my mother explained, I didn't have any time. Swami just called. But why do you feel bad? Just go and stand there. Swami will come out after performing the marriage. Maybe Swami will talk to you both. So we went and stood. There is a flight of steps which go down, and then there is a Kalyan Mandapam. I went and stood right at the top of the step to just keep seeing when Swami will come out. It didn't strike me that I should walk down and go and wait for Swami down. So, but well, I don't know. It was that's the way the liberty we had in those days as students, and the proximity we enjoyed. So I was standing on top. Swami, as true to my mother's word, finished the marriage, and he came and he looked up at me from down, and he started climbing up the stairs, idiotly looking up at me, and came to the top. As soon as he came on top, Swami said, "I only call your mother. Don't feel bad." And he just extended his hand. I immediately showed my hand, and out popped a laddu, half a laddu in my hand. And then he looked at my brother and gave the remaining half to him. And that's all. I mean, I was overjoyed. That simple gesture, I forgot everything. This is where the main thing happened. I was about to eat the laddu when Swami turned to walk inside the residence. Swami turned back and told me, "Hey, don't go in a bike." I said, "Okay, Swami." So Swami turned. I was again about to put the laddu in my mouth. Now Swami turned sternly and said, "Hey," it was, you know how Swami, when he wants to communicate something, sternly he said, "Don't go in a bike." In a much more sterner voice. I was stunned. I literally crumpled the laddu in my hand. But I didn't understand why Swami said this suddenly. But Swami went, but I had that prasad and everything. And Swami had already instructed my mother that we had to go and visit somebody in Ooty before we went back home to Coimbatore. So we went and visited them and then went back to Coimbatore. 3-4 days later, as a family, again, me, my mother and brother, we had to come to Chennai to visit our extended family, my uncles and other aunts and everybody. So it's a typical Indian family with a lot of uncles, aunts, and cousins who come from all over the country during summer holidays, and they have so it's a kind of mela kind of a house. So there, when we were there, I had contacted a couple of my students who were Swami students who were studying with me in Vrindavan, that I was in Chennai and everything, and let's meet. So one particular boy, he came to meet me, and we spent few minutes, maybe 15, 20 minutes chatting with each other and everything. Then suddenly, I don't know what occurred to him. He said, "Hey, why don't you come with me to my house? My parents will be overjoyed to see you. Let's meet them, and I'll come. I'll drop you back here." So I didn't find anything amiss. I just ran in to tell my mom I'll not be there for a few minutes, and she was busy engaged with other relatives. So nobody asked anything. I just came out. He had come in a bike. So he started the bike. I sat behind it. Everything, I mean, nothing occurred to me when I sat on the bike. Now, as it was, our ancestral home in Chennai is in a lane which is off a main road and it's a dead end. Our house is in a dead end. So you just come out of the lane and you turn into a main road. So I sat on the bike. We just came onto the main road and he just turned right, full of traffic. He just turned right. As soon as he turned right, the scene of Swami warning me in Ooty just a week back just flashed in my mind. Swami, second time when he literally told me so sternly, it just came in front of my eyes. The moment this thought came, you will not believe this bike stopped abruptly in the middle of the road. It just stopped. It's impossible, you know how the vehicle moves, even if there is engine stalls or something, the momentum will take you few meters or few yards in front, and we were not going slow, we were going at a good pace, but it stopped. It was as if somebody just grab it and hold it, like that. I was petrified. I just got down. I didn't even tell Sairam to this boy. I ran back home. I didn't even want to think what had happened. I ran back home. I just saw my cousins playing cricket. I just joined them. I wanted to forget about this. I thought the chapter ended here. But within a week or 10 days, the holidays got over. I had to come to Brindavan. The day I landed in Brindavan, Swami decided to give an interview to my grandfather who had come along with me. So when he called for interview, I also went in with my granddad. Inside the interview room, Swami inquired about all these things, and then generally, how is this boy and everything. And then Swami said, "Did he go in a bike?" He asked my grandfather. My grandfather said, "No, Swami, absolutely," because nobody knows about this. He has followed your words. He has not, because I had come and told that Swami has warned me, so he has to. So now I was getting jittery because Swami was holding my hand. I was kneeling next to Swami in a personal interview room, and Swami was holding my hand, and my grandfather was seated at Swami's feet. So now I was trying to extricate my hand from Swami's hand. You just imagine the scene. I knew what was happening now. Swami didn't allow. He just pulled my hand, kept it on his armrest, put his hand on my arm firmly, and said, "No, Chapura, did you go in a bike or not?" And then Swami narrated the scene exactly. And Swami said how he stopped the bike. And he said, "If I had not stopped the bike, you would have died on that day." Do you realize? Swami asked, when Swami says something, you have to follow. Oh, tears were coming down in my eyes because it was a very shocking revelation from Swami when he tells you one to one like this. But Swami was in no mood for mercy because there was a lot of learning to be done that day. And then Swami said, "What else did you do during holidays? Did you watch movies?" My grandfather again gave me a clean check. No, Swami, he didn't watch. Genuinely, I also didn't watch. Yeah, you didn't watch, but what did you say? I said, where, Swami? I said, what did you say? I said, Swami, to whom I asked? To your uncle. Swami again gave the scene where. So I said, Swami, I said, I don't want to see the movie. No, you didn't say that. You said you don't want to see a movie because Swami does not like it. Why? I said, what is this? Swami told me not to see movie. I said, my mind was thinking like that. But Swami said, why? When Swami has told you, you should have the self-confidence of telling, I don't want to see movie because I don't want to see. Why should you say that Swami doesn't want to see? Doesn't want me to see? Why should you take Swami's name for it? Why you don't have confidence in yourself? Swami asked. So that was a great lesson that day. Not only you listen to Swami, you internalize it, and you have to do it of your own will, and not take. So it was a great lesson as a fresher, which I never forgot in my life. Thereon, going ahead. Another interesting incident which happened again, which was a life changer, I would say, for me. I had narrated this many times, but I never tired narrating this incident. Happened one day waiting for Swami's darshan in Tribunam. Now, the darshan in those days and the darshan which happened later on were very different. When you used to go and sit in Tribunam for darshan, the discipline which Swami expected was you don't turn right or left. Forget about turning right or left. Your eyebrows also, eyelids also should not move. I mean, Swami was very strict. You come, you sit, you focus on Swami. And so the question of talking was absolutely not there in Vrindavan. And Swami was very strict on these things. So I had an opportunity one day to sit right outside Swami's door, right on main doors. And there used to be, again, I'm not taking the name, one VIP devotee, a senior person. Swami used to call him as his Hanuman, very sincere person. He was sitting next to me. Now, he, in course of waiting for Swami's darshan, we are all waiting morning 8:15, we are waiting for Swami to come out any moment. Swami, he just asked me very politely, how does Swami know everything? I assure you, I was in no mood to talk and certainly not interested in answering all these kind of questions. I just tried to avoid him, but he persisted. How does Swami know everything? So when I realized that I couldn't escape, I just told him, Swami is Antaryami. I just told him in a very, without turning my head to his side. Swami said, that's what Swami tells us. But you tell me how Swami knows everything. So this went on for a few seconds. I'm just cutting the long story short. Not knowing how to end this conversation, I just told him, Uncle, you only tell. I thought this way I'll escape. So let him do the talking. I just sit facing Swami's door. And at least that way I'll escape the Swami to come and see me. So what happened the next few seconds was a blessing of Swami on me. This uncle, he explained to me like this. He just said, when you go into any Indian household, you find the picture of Lord Vishnu with 10 heads on the right, 10 heads on the left. What do you think about it? Do you think that person who drew it was just using his imagination, or he was mad or something like that? I said, no. Then he said, that is the Virat Swarup. That is the Vishwarupa of Vishnu. And have you seen that inside the Lord, there is a Kamadhenu, there is a Kalpataru, and all those things which have been depicted? What is the meaning of it? He said, the entire cosmos is contained in the Lord. That is the meaning of all these things. So now, when you are sitting and when ant or something bites you, how do you know? I said, it's my leg, so I know it bites. So he told, in the same way, whatever happens in the cosmos, in the entire Brahmanda, the Lord knows, because the Brahmanda, the cosmos, is inside the Lord. The Lord is the consciousness in which this Brahmanda is contained. Believe me, it was an electric effect. I still remember the day all my hairs, I'm getting goosebumps even today. It was like one glucose injection given to you by one shot. And I realized This uncle would have thought he taken 30, 35 years of his life of spiritual sadhana to arrive at this kind of understanding or this kind of conclusion. But here he put it in a small capsule and gave it to me by Swami's grace. And the understanding in me was instant. See, one is to listen to him and hear it. Another was it having an impact on you. Both happened instantaneously, and as it would have it, Swami opened the door that very instant this happened, walked out, stood in front of me, gave me a complete Padnamaskar, gave a Padnamaskar to the uncle. Not only that, he touched both of us on our heads, blessed us, and went. It was a great experience. So for me, having known Swami right from childhood as an Antaryami, coming to Swami as a student and experiencing his physical, and then understanding this totally different dimension as to why Swami is an Antaryami was a very great blessing. And I think this, in my opinion, this was the greatest blessing and learning I had from Vrindavan as a student. And again, time moved on. And I just want to share only two more things connected because there are so many incidents, so many experiences. And I can talk on for hours together, but I will not complete my life in Vrindavan. But I'll just say, again, these two had very deep impact on me. First one was Swami one day in the morning time, it was a winter holidays time. Few of us had chosen to stay back in Vrindavan, and must have been 30, 40 of us. And it was only Swami and us. And Swami, apart from giving us the time in the evening sessions in Tri Vrindavan, those winter holidays time used to call us for morning sessions also, after morning darshan. So we used to go and sit with Swami for 1.5 hours in the morning, apart from 2.5 hours in the evening. So in the morning session, when Swami called us one day, he had come back after giving darshan. And as you know, Swami was carrying a bunch of letters. He came and sat in the tribunal, and 30, 40 of us were around him. And Swami, as he was, and many a times as a student, you know that when we are seated and Swami is when he's going through letters, there will be pin drop silence. The Lord and those around him, and those who had a chance to be right at the lotus feet will use this chance to do Path Seva. And Swami will be going through the letter at random, speak something, remark something. I mean, you know, this is a, so it was happening that day. And Swami took one particular letter. We could see that it had something inside that. Swami said, "What is there in that?" Swami asked us, looking at. Then we knew there's something is going to happen. Swami opened the letter and pulled out. It was a big bar of chocolate, Swiss chocolate. It was a big bar. Swami said, I don't know how you people like chocolate. What is there in chocolate? Swami, few seconds spent saying that how he does not like chocolate and everything. But saying that, he kept opening the chocolate thing and opened the inside silver wrapper and started breaking the bar into smaller pieces and passed on to all of us, 30, 40 of us. Each one of us got one chunk of chocolate. Now, after doing that, Swami said, showed the disgust for having touched the chocolate. He said, "Let me go wash my hands. I don't know how you people eat this." So Swami went inside, washed his hands, came back, sat, and again said, "How you people eat this chocolate?" And meanwhile, all of us were sitting holding the chocolate in hand, and one of my classmates who was there right at the lotus feet was holding the chocolate. Swami took back that piece of chocolate in his hand and looked at it. "I don't know how you people eat it." Saying that, Swami blew on it. It became a diamond. Swami said, "This is the most perfectly cut diamond." And he just passed it around. So we all had an opportunity of holding the diamond, looking at it. And again, it went back to Swami. Swami had a look at the diamond and blew it. It became a chocolate. Now the main experience is here. So when it became a chocolate, the boy from whose hand Swami had taken the chocolate, converted into a diamond and reconverted into a chocolate, literally grabbed it back from Swami's hand. When I say grabbed it, it was snatched. He snatched it from Swami's hand and put it in his mouth. Swami was, physically showed, hey, he was taken aback. Then Swami looked at him sternly. Then he told, "Swami, I was afraid you will give it off to somebody. That's why I took it. I didn't want." Swami said, "Dunapota." Swami had a nickname for him. Again, I don't want to mention his name. He was my classmate. And then I said, Janapata. And there I saw what is the liberty and what was the proximity we had with Swami that we could take advantage of this kind of instances. And another occasion like this, during the same time, it was a morning session in Trai again. It was again a very, very unforgettable moment. In the year 1988, there was a Indian Airlines plane crash in Bangalore. A very famous industrialist from Bombay also perished in the crash along with his family. So on that particular day, we were all seated in the Trai Brindavan along with Swami. And I still remember Swami was standing just right in front of me, and I was holding Swami's feet, and Swami was talking to all of us. Suddenly, Swami said, "Hey," and Swami just for a second, just something like he just froze for a second, and he gestured to me not to touch his feet. I just lifted my hand. Swami stood for a second like that, and then Swami said, "Just know this plane has crashed here in Bangalore." And Swami kept quiet for a second, came and sat in the. There was a pin drop silence. Swami came and sat on his sofa, and he looked at us. And then Swami described the scene and how a few people have perished. And he didn't get into much detail, but he just told. So later on, we realized that the plane crash had happened and this industrious family had perished. But there was, it came in the newspaper the next day, overseas devotee, who was Swami's devotee, who was there in the plane, who had escaped unhurt. And he told the reporter, "I escaped because I called out to Baba. I'm a Baba devotee. I called out to Baba, and that's how I survived." And I also remember reading in the same newspaper, in those days, the plane had both a smoking section, non-smoking section. So there was a guy who was saying, "I was seated in the smoking section and I was smoking. Thanks to my habit, I got saved today, and I will never give up. But for my smoking, I would have never survived." Both came in the same newspaper. So when I read it, I was just thinking the lead of the law. Here is a plane crash, and there are people who have perished. And here is a man who has escaped unhurt. And there is another person. I'm just giving, and it made me think. Later on in life, few years down the line, when we were with Swami in Kodaikanal, a person, a lady, a Swami's devotee, she had come to visit Swami. And after having spent a day there with Swami, everything, she took Swami's leave and she started going back in a car. Swami asked, "Where are you going?" She said, "I'm going down to Palani. From there, I'll go to Coimbatore, take a flight." She was from Hyderabad, I think. She said, first, but it was a road journey going down and to some extent. Swami blessed her. Now, these people got into the car. There were 3 occupants in the car: driver, this lady, devotee, her sister, and the sister's husband in the front seat. After they left, Swami was talking to us. It was 1.5 hours. Swami was spending time with all of us. Then again, Swami, in the midst of his talk, just stopped for a second and said, "See, just now, the car in which this lady has gone has met with an accident. This lady, my devotee, seated behind, called out my name. I rushed to save her. But her brother-in-law, seated in the front row, rather than pray to God, called out, 'Ayyo.' Because of this lady's call, I rushed and saved." And you see, this lady would have got down from the car. She would have straight gone to the post office and she will be sending a telegram. Telegram will reach us tomorrow, narrating this incident. And true to Swami's word, next day a telegram came, and the way Swami described, the lady thanked Swami for having saved her life. And so, putting these incidents in life, I realized that we have to remember God with every breath so that we remember Him with our last breath, Swami used to say. And I had a very first-hand experience of how these people had this kind of experiences. And hearing the narration from Swami kept me in the track about this. Now, after this, I got a PG admission. I was there in Puttaparthi for my MBA. During my MBA time, lot of opportunities of Swami gave MBA students. And as MBA student, I belong to the fifth batch of MBA who studied in Swami's Institute, and the opportunities were immense. So, few of the incidents, learning at that point of time, which comes to my mind immediately was, it was one evening, darshan time. Swami was giving darshan. I was seated in the lower portico. Swami came lovingly, came near me and stood in front of me and again asked me, how can you make everybody happy in life? Swami asked me a question. So I knelt down, looked at Swami. I didn't know how to answer to this query. I just kept quiet. As was our Swami again repeated the question, how can you make everybody happy in life? So I folded my hand and just bowed down, indicating that Swami should guide. So Swami said, can you make everybody happy in life? No, it's not possible. You cannot make everybody happy in life. And then Swami explained, in a house, this is one-to-one during darshan time. Swami said, in a house, if you want water in the tap, in your kitchen, in your bathroom, or in your shower, what do? You fill the overhead tank with water, and then the tank is full and the water comes from all these taps. So it's important to keep the water tank full. Similarly, in life, you keep Swami happy. All the people whom you meet in life are like taps. If Swami is happy, whomever you meet in life is happy. So that is the way to keep everybody happy, not approaching the other way around. Again, a very valuable lesson which helped me immensely throughout my life to this day, that we cannot take any step to make anybody happy. Best is to make Swami happy and allow Swami to be happy within each one of them. It's not that Swami is making happy. Swami is there in them and Swami makes them happy. It only depends the intensity to which you are making Swami happy. It was a great lesson. Another lesson which I learned from Swami was about keeping things simple. Now, one day evening again, when Swami came for darshan, I was seated in the first row, the upper portico. So Swami came out and then came near me and asked me, what exams do you have tomorrow? So exams are going on, semester exams. I told Swami, operations research. Empty? Swami said. I said, Swami, operation research. Came a Pichivada. Operation equation, Swami said. Swami said, what is a madcap talking about operation equation? Swami saying that, Swami walked away from there. So I was really shocked. Then I asked brother sitting next to me, what did Swami ask actually? He said, Swami asked, what did I answer? You answered operation. But tomorrow's operation, this is why is Swami upset? And I thought I was really worried. Swami is upset. So Swami went, finished darshan, came back, he gave interview. And then, Swami used to call the authorities for a daily interaction. So Swami called them. And in those days, you remember, between the evening flute music and the bhajan, there will be the ethereal 3-4 minutes when Swami will be standing in the upper portico looking at the devotees with absolute pin drop silence in the entire darshan hall portico, waiting for the Omkara to start, for the bhajans to start. So at that moment, Swami came. I was still seated. I was just not knowing what mistake I had made that Swami reacted like that. Swami said, Mitra, it is statistics. And you are saying operation. I spoke to the authorities. They told me it is statistics, Swami. Swami said, I was stunned. Actually, what Swami said was correct. What is operation research? The statistics. Somebody in their wisdom in the Western world had named it as operation research. But the fundamental was statistics. So the lesson I learned that day was keep it simple and straight. Don't complicate, don't use jargons. So it again helped immensely in my life going ahead, whatever I did, even to this day. So this was again one more wonderful experience which I had. Another great experience which I can never forget was as part of our MBA, we had to do a project. Now this was in our second year. Now after a lot of trials and tribulations, I chose a subject as my project, which was on MRTP Act. It is Monopolistic Restrictive Trade Practices Act. I mean, it was an act which discouraged monopolies to be created in the country, and but it was a very, very draconian act in India, and which was really hampering the industrial growth. So my project, I had taken it that as a theme, and I was trying to establish that this act was hindering the industrial growth, and this act needs to be scrapped. So it was a hard work of 3 4 months of doing a lot of research, and I came up with this thesis and everything. And this thesis had to be tested in front of a external faculty, viva voce as we call it in those days, an external faculty who had to. So since my name started with V as Venkatesh Prasad, mine was the last name in the roll call, and this was done during the winter holidays, and mine was on the very last day. So the entire class had the opportunity of finishing their projects, and none of them had any good experience because they were thoroughly grilled and they were not too confident about what kind of grade they're going to get and everything. So my turn came on that particular day, and on that day, and hostel also not many people were there, and only postgraduate students and MBA students were there. So I went, and the newspaper used to be kept at the entrance of the hostel in Patti, and each room boy used to go and take. So I went to pick up the newspaper which was there for my room, and I was aghast because right on top, this was a news. This was the year 91. Narasimha Rao was the prime minister of the country, and the commerce minister of that day had abolished the act, and it was the headline. I was panicking. I didn't know what. I mean, imagine you have done a project, you are going to present a project, and the subject matter of the project itself was not existing on the day. I didn't know how to do it. I did what I could do. I rushed, poured 2 buckets of water on my head, changed into my whites, ran to Mandir, because normally we don't go for morning darshan. I ran to Mandir, went and sat right in the front. And Swami came out for darshan, and Swami showed surprise seeing me in front. So I knelt down and literally in tears, I said, Swami, Vaiva. Swami patted me on my shoulder like that. I said, same thing. Swami asked again. I said, Swami, Vaiva. Swami didn't allow me to complete. Swami patted, firmly held my shoulder and said, I will give you Viva. You go and do Vaiva, Swami said. Swami played with the word. Now, Viva is a health drink in India. I mean, those who are born and brought up in India will know. And Swami said, I will give you Viva. You go and do Viva, Swami said. And Swami turned and went towards ladies' side for darshan. I was so much filled with energy with the Swami. I didn't even wait for Swami to complete darshan. I just got up immediately, ran back, went and prepared myself for the project presentation. And then with this confidence, I realized my conclusion was this act had to be abolished. And here, if these people have abolished the act, maybe it is to my advantage. Let me take it to my advantage. So I went straight to my conclusion. I didn't even bother. I put up the last slide and showed to the entire team of learned members there. They thought I was acting smart, that I was going straight to the conclusion. So they took me to task for jumping to the last slide. So I quietly opened the newspaper of the day and placed it in front of them. Sir, this is the news for the day, and this is what the Commerce Minister of the country has done, and these are my conclusions. So I think my conclusions are validated. So they had a hearty laugh, really hearty laugh. They said, "What a coincidence!" And then say, "We can't allow you to go out from here without answering questions. Sit down. Since this act has been scrapped, no point in asking the questions." So what happened for the next 1 hour was intense grilling by them on everything on earth. They asked me query on Kalatitaya. What is Kalatitaya? They asked me on the leadership style between John Major, who was the British Prime Minister at that time, and Margaret Thatcher, who was his predecessor and everything. So it went on. and they set me free. But luckily, I got O grade. So what I'm saying is, when Swami blesses you, even an impossible situation becomes possible. This is again a great learning. So there are many more instances, but again, I will move on from here. But these are all the learnings for me as a student from the Satsai Institute of Higher Learning.
Wonderful, wonderful, Venkatesh. Wonderful to hear all those experiences. I know, as you said, Kalatitaya, because you can't tell about him in a stipulated time because his glory is enormous, unfathomable. We cannot tell all these experiences in a, some kind of a fixed time. That's also a Kalatita is beyond time. And
Right.
like, let's move to the last, discussion. Like, I know we had this opportunity to talk to him, touch him, have his look on us, all, Parnamaskar. Swami is giving, I'll give you Viva, you go and do, I'll give you Viva, you go and do Viva. That's beautiful kind of, talk. That So we miss that physical presence and, physical proximity, especially after Mahasamadhi. So how did you cope with that or coping with that? It is a difficult for all of us I devotees, like maybe few, words from you so that we can conclude the talk.
Okay. See, actually, this Mahasamadhi, what we now call as the Sai Sannidhi, was a very unexpected moment in my life, because I, for one, never ever thought that during my lifetime such an event will happen, because it was something which was not in my scheme of things. But it was a rude awakening. I remember being there in those 3 days, and it took me some time to gather myself. But to be very honest, I moved on very fast, because for me, I knew the Antaryami Swami first. I knew the omnipresent Swami first before I came to the physical form of Swami, and before I came to Swami as a student. And post moving out also, between the time I graduated until the Mahasamadhi day, my entire life in corporate everything, I had seen enough instances, wonderful opportunities, wonderful indications of Swami's omnipresence. So many things happened. So I knew that Swami was there, always with you. And I took it in this way. Each person is different, but for me, this is how I went about it. I started moving out and started traveling and started visiting a lot of places. Now, this was not something of my own plan. It so happened. So some of the places I visited, I'm saying it's don't read anything into it, but it just happened. It was just Swami created this situation. I went and visited Dwarka in Gujarat. I went and visited Somnath. I went and visited, all the Panchabhuta Shivlingas in Tamil Nadu. And it's not everything continuously over a period of few years. I visited Badrinath, Kedarnath. I went to Haridwar, Rishikesh. I went to Mathura, Vrindavan. Went to Tiruvannamalai. I went to Chidambaram. You name it, extensively. And visiting all these places, one thing, again, not to be misunderstood here, I started literally seeing the energy of all these places. And I started sensing the presence of Swami in all these places. Now, Swami had always said, the heart is not a musical chair where you keep moving from A to B, B to C. You stick onto a form and you keep that firmly in your heart. True to that, I visited all these places, but it was Swami to whom I prayed in all these places. It was Swami whom I saw in all these places, and I felt Swami's presence in all these places. Sometimes very visibly, sometimes very subtly. So many incidents and everything. And the uppermost thought which came in my mind was, it was all shoreless ocean of consciousness, as they say. It may look like a jargon, which I read it in a book later on, but it was like a complete, entire place everywhere is permeated by Swami. Now we can call it a Sai consciousness. People, since Swami is guided that way, who want to call it as Christ consciousness, or they want to call it as Krishna consciousness, or they want to call it as Atman, Brahman, whichever way. But it is this principle which is there everywhere, and wherever you see, it is Swami. Whichever place you see, it's Swami. And Swami became more and more available. And all this pilgrimage made one very clear in mind that it is the kind of a level to which Swami expects us to grow. Again, I would like to highlight here one very important point. Post the fall Swami had in 2005, when he suffered a fall and he had to be operated on, Swami, in almost all his discourses, started using this phrase very clearly. He said, reduce body attachment and increase atmic attachment. I mean, if I can use this exact Telugu word, dehabhimanam taginchu, atmabhimanam penchu. Swami used to tell this in many discourses. So it could be on two levels. For our own sake, to reduce our own body consciousness and feel this cosmic consciousness, and also from a devotee point of view, to reduce the affinity to Swami as a body and to move more towards Swami as a universal consciousness. So these were the two things which I took to heart. And again, I would like to put it this way again. I mean, I just would like to close with this. This entire process, in my own case, when I look back now, I'm 50 years old now, from my birth till now. When I look back, I realize I am like a newborn baby who is just trying to turn to the side. You know, a baby, when it's born, after a few months, it turns to its side, then it learns to crawl, and then it starts walking. So I feel I'm at the very, very preliminary stage. But when I think and understand the reality, when I see the enormity of task ahead of me, I immediately also realize that while as a student and as a person who had this proximity to Swami, Swami filled us with so much at that time, and he expected us to run. Forget about me trying to turn now. Swami wanted me to run 35, 40 years back. So when I look at it and balance it out, I realize, and now I understand what Swami said. You should be like a cow. Swami has to tell students always, when you put something in front of the cow takes everything. It takes everything, then it goes back to its resting place, and then it gets it back again from within and chews on it, and again digests it well. So when I compare myself as a newborn baby and the expectation Swami had 35, 40 years back, now I realize all the seeds Swami put in us at that point of time. It is now time to recollect, rethink on all these things, and see how we internalize this and lead our life accordingly. And Swami has also mentioned, to whom much is given, much is expected. So I, as a Sai student, I, as a Sai devotee, I, having had this opportunity with Swami in all these years, would think that the time is now for people like me to raise our level of consciousness and to feel Swami's presence, omnipresence, always, all around us, at every moment, and live only in the presence. As Swami used to say, live in the present, which is omnipresent, and live always in the presence. So there's no question of talking about experiences in past tense. This is what Swami used to do. This is what this experience. I mean, it's all fine to some extent, but a point comes in life where one has to live in this presence at this moment where Swami is present. I think I would feel this will be the right way to face this situation and to go ahead. And also, we are doing a great service also by doing this, because when there is so much turmoil in the world and there's so much changes happening all over the world, the entire universal consciousness also need to rise up. And it's the duty of each and every one of us who had this opportunity of Swami to be part of this process to raise collectively this universal consciousness by raising ourselves and making us live in this presence. And also to remind what Swami told, Dr. John Islock, when Swami, when he told Swami, you keep talking about a golden age. I don't see any. So Swami said, just because you don't see doesn't mean it is not there. It is there and it is going to come. So I feel one needs to walk this path of living the presence and see the dawning of this golden age, as Swami has mentioned. These are my thoughts on this topic.
Wonderful, wonderful, Venkatesh. It was wonderful to hear all your experiences, and that's a very thing, and connecting to the universal consciousness and seeing that Sai is universal consciousness is a beautiful message. And heart should not be a musical chair. That's a beautiful message of Swami. Thank you for giving us this opportunity to hear you. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. Sai Ram. Sai Ram.
ॐ साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वप्रचोदयात्। 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 ॐ साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वप्रचोदयात्। ॐ 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 साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वप्रचोदयात्।
श्रीगणनाथ देवादिदेवा श्रीगणनाथ देवादिदेवा प्रणव स्वरूप प्रभो पाहि। प्रणव स्वरूप प्रभो पाहि। हे शिवनन्दन बाल गजानन शिवनन्दन बाल गजानन प्रभो साई ईश्वरी तनया प्रभो साई श्री गणनाथ देवादिदेवा प्रणव स्वरूपा प्रभो पाहि हे शिवनन्दन बाल गजानन पार्वती तनया प्रभो हरे ईश्वरी तनया प्रभो साई ईश्वरी तनया प्रभो साई श्री गणनाथ देवादिदेवा
दत्तात्रेया सद्गुरुदेवा दत्तात्रेया सद्गुरुदेवा देहि देहि तव श्रीपाद सेवा देहि देहि तव श्रीपाद सेवा दत्तात्रेया सद्गुरुदेवा तुम ही ब्रह्म सनातन देवा दत्तात्रेया सद्गुरुदेवा तुम ही ब्रह्मा सनातन देवा विष्णु नारायण श्री वासुदेवा कन्नड भूषण शिव महादेवा देहि देहि तव श्रीपाद सेवा देहि देहि तव श्रीपाद सेवा दत्तात्रेया सद्गुरुदेवा
देवी जगज्जननी देवी जगज्जननी परिपालिनी परिपूरणी परिपालिनी परिपूरणी देवी जगज्जननी शङ्करी परमेश्वरी शङ्करी परमेश्वरी कात्यायनी भवभञ्जनी कात्यायनी भवभञ्जनी करुणाकरी हरि सोदरी करुणाकरी हरि सोदरी कादम्बरी हृदयान्तरी कादम्बरी हृदयान्तरी देवी जगज्जननी परिपालिनी परिपूरणी देवी जगज्जननी शङ्करी परमेश्वरी कात्यायनी भवभञ्जनी करुणाकरी कादम्बरी हृदयान्तरी देवी जगज्जननी
दीनानाथा साई गुरुनाथा दीनानाथा साई गुरुनाथा प्रेम स्वरूपा शांति प्रदाता शांति प्रदाता प्रेम स्वरूपा शांति प्रदाता शांति प्रदाता दीनानाथा साई गुरुनाथा जय जय गुरुदेव सच्चिदानंदा जय जय गुरुदेव सच्चिदानंदा शशिवदना कृतकेशा शशिवदना कृतकेशा सुंदर साई आनंददाई सुंदर साई आनंददाई दया सागर करुणा करा साई गुरुदेवा दया सागर करुणा करा साई गुरुदेवा दीनानाथा साई गुरुनाथा प्रेम स्वरूपा शांति प्रदाता दीनानाथा साई गुरुनाथा जय जय गुरुदेव सच्चिदानंदा शशिवदना कृतकेशा सुंदर साई आनंददाई दया सागर करुणा करा साई गुरुदेवा दीनानाथा साई गुरुनाथा
जगत्पालना जगन्मोहना जगत्पालना जगन्मोहना सुंदर साई गोपालना सुंदर साई सुंदर साई गोपालना सुंदर साई मुनि जन सेवित मधुसूदना मुनि जन सेवित मधुसूदना मुनि जन सेवित मधुसूदना मुनि जन सेवित मधुसूदना जगत्पालना जगन्मोहना केशवा गोविन्द जनार्दना केशवा गोविन्द जनार्दना
कौस्तुभधारी वनमालाधर श्यामल मदन गोपाला कौस्तुभधारी वनमालाधर श्यामल मदन गोपाला
स्वामी सत्य साई भरे भक्त जना संरक्षक भक्त जना संरक्षक भक्ति महेश्वर ओम जगदीश हरिवदना श्रीकरा सर्वा प्राणपते स्वामी सर्वा प्राणपते आश्रित कल्पलतीका आश्रित कल्पलतीका आभसाना ओम जय जगदीश माता पिता गुरुदैव हरियं तयो नीवे स्वामी हरियं तयो नीवे नाद ब्रह्म जगन्नाथ नाद ब्रह्म जगन्नाथ नागेन्द्राश्रय ओम जय जगदीश रूपमोदसि साई महादेव सत्य साई महादेवा मंगलारति मंगलारति अंतर गिरिधार ओम जय जगदीश हरे नारायण नारायण सत्य नारायण 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 सत्य नारायण नारायण सत्य नारायण नारायण ओम जय सद्गुरुदेवा नारायण सत्य नारायण 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 ओम जय सद्गुरुदेवा नारायण सत्य नारायण 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 सत्य नारायण नारायण सत्य नारायण नारायण जय सद्गुरुदेवा शांति 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 समस्तलोका सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्तलोका सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्तलोका सुखिनो भवन्तु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः भूर्भुवस्सुवः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् अशीमवहु वहिष्ठेमस्ति उष्टास्ति उष्टाहमये शतशाय वहिष्ठायशि नमो तस्सा भगवतो अरहतो सम्मा सम्बुद्धस्स बुद्धं शरणं गच्छामि धम्मं शरणं गच्छामि संघं शरणं गच्छामि श्मा इस्राएल अदोनाय एलोहेनु अदोनाय एहा अदोनाय एहा Adonai Echad. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. La ilaha illallah, Allah, Allah. 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 साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति। परमं पवित्रं भावाविभूतिं परमं विचित्रं लीलाविभूतिम् आत्मैष्टार्थमोक्षप्रदानं भावाविभूतिम् इदमाश्रयामि। Sacred, holy and supreme is Baba's vibhuti, pouring forth in brilliant stream His way of vibhuti. So auspicious is its fire, it grants liberation. Baba's vibhuti, its power protects. Sai Baba's vibhuti, its power protects me.
What is the inner significance of describing God as Hridayavasi, the indweller in the heart? He resides in the form of daya, compassion in the heart. If there is no compassion, it is no heart at all. Everyone should realize that God is with him, beside him, and around him all the time. If you take 10 steps towards Bhagavan, he takes 100 steps towards you. But whither should you take these 10 steps? No one seems to think about that. If you take 10 steps towards evil, falsehood, injustice, and wickedness, will I take 100 steps in that direction? No. Your steps should be in the direction of what is good. What is good? The steps should lead upwards spiritually. So, if you ascend 10 steps, I shall help you to climb 100 steps. You should move in the right direction, not the wrong one. To the extent you yearn and pine for God, God will pine for you 1,000-fold. You can have no conception of tapam, God's pining. Your pining is tamas. God's pining is tapas, penance. The difference between the two should be understood. Satya Sai Speaks, Volume 28, 1995, Baba.